Alright, so we're going to use Flexbox and create some crapola, coolio, crapolio, and if my mouse cooperates. And so here's a little description of the challenges. We're going to create this using Flexbox. And I got that from, you can see this here. Let me just close these for people out in video land. Hello, everybody in TV land. So there's a little README right here, and it says, hey, there's this article where they've created a whole bunch of Flexbox things. It's right here. And so we're going to create some of these and see what they are. So the first one's a stepper input. And so here's the stepper input I created. Stepper input, instructions, index, get rid of those instructions there, and main. And should I have used any other tags other than div to create this? What do you think? I think div's pretty good, right? It's just like a container for holding things. Did anybody else find any other? I can't think of any other semantic tags other than div. So I just had a container div called stepper, ID stepper. And then 3 ones inside, and then in my CSS, I just did HTML body 100%, and HTML body div, padding margin, box sizing, right, and then body display flex, justify content, line items, center. So this is kind of like the reset right here, you know, resets everything. Kind of even maybe just put that at the very top. And then this will center the content in the center of the page. Correcto mundo. And then this was just let me see the borders as I created it. And I give stepper a height of 3 rims and width of 12 rims. And I did that display flex. Where it's going to be a row. So all 3 of these here will be children. They'll be put into a row. And each child, no wrap, and justify content center. So it'll take all those and put them into, each one of these will be put into the center of this container. And this container right here got put into the center of the page by the body display flex, right? Because that's its child, is this container. So it said, justify content center, put it into the center of the page. Like if I took these out, well, I gotta bring it up. It's up there now, right? If I put those in, and it puts in the center of body, which is 100% height, taking up the whole page. All right, so then with stepper, these guys, justify content center, what happens if those aren't centered? Nothing. Justify content center. Anyhow, I guess we don't need that. Flex direction row. I just need display flex, I think, on that, because those are already the defaults. There we go. That cleaned it up a little bit. And then for each one of these steppers, I gave them all that. So I made them each a flex container, which means that and the text is a node in HTML. Text is a node in the DOM. A node is an element. Node is like from networking, like that's a node on the network, that display device. These computers are each nodes on the network. So a node is like an element. It's an element in the DOM. So text is a node, and so here we have HTML HTML entities, and you know, that's the minus sign, the plus sign, whatever. I just figured I'd use those. I probably could have just used a minus and a plus sign, but I was curious if they were HTML entities, and they are. So I added those in, and then this is an element in the DOM, a node, just as if it's something else. It's text. And when we look at that, we could actually see that when we look at like what are the DOM elements here. And so this is going to center the text within the container. So I made each of these a flex container and then centered the text vertically and horizontally. And gave the text color black. Flex grow 1 on 1 and 3. And then flex grow 2 on the one in the middle. So it's twice as big. Right? 1, 2, 1 adds up to 4. So this is 1/4. That's 2/4. That's 1/4. And then we did border right 1 pixel solid blue. So that gave me this one, that border right there. This border right here. Watch, I take it away. I take it away now. You don't like, I take away. I took it away. Yeah, and then a background color. And then border radius. That was kind of cool. It's the first time I've done that, where it's top right, bottom left. And so I just wanted the top, and not the right, not the bottom, and the left. And so that gave me this top right here, because without that, wonk. Right? Because I have border radius on the blue going around the container. And so this one didn't get rounded, the div inside. So when I say background color, I get a big square there. But I say, okay, top, not right, not bottom, and also left, which is top, not right, not bottom, also left. And then on the bottom one, I did not top, right, bottom, not left. So not top, right, bottom, not left. Pretty cool. And a little hover. Interestingly, I just learned this doesn't work. Oh, it does now. I don't know what I was doing wrong. Okay, that works. Put those together because they do the same thing. That was nice. Let's do another one. So the next one is, do you want, I guess we'll go left to right. So tabs. And we'll come over here and look at it. You want to see his solution for this? Let's look at his solution. Display flex. I guess we'd have to take time to kind of look at his solution. But div, button, okay, that makes sense. He used button. That's nice to see. Right? Because those are buttons. But then you have an opening and a closing. Add on left, button add on left, and a button thing, and button add on right. And so stepper input, that's all display flex. So the container's all display flex. And then stepper input and big underscores input. I'm not sure what that refers to. Here's a class. There we go. Stepper input, big underscores input. That's the input. Border left, 0. Border right, 0. Border. Padding, margin, border. So that's kind of his reset. Keep everything on the left and right next to me. Width, 60%, 60 pixels. Text align center. Okay. And then the button applies to both the left and right. Cursor will be a pointer when you go over it. That's kind of a nice little thing to add on. So I could do that on this one. So now when I look at it, just the arrow, right? But if I add on to that, to both 1 and 3, cursor pointer, now I get the finger. It's giving me the finger. All right. And padding, content padding. So that's top and bottom is 5 pixels. Right and left is 15 pixels. Color, that's the text. Background color. Font size. Border, border radius. And then on the left, he's adding a border top right radius, so he just specified each one, border bottom right. And input is this class where right there. 1 pix, dot, dot, dot. So what is his flex doing? Setting display to flex makes this container lay out its children using Flexbox. By default, orders items horizontally, top aligned. So this just makes those 3 things be a row. And then the rest he did conventional CSS, no Flexbox. A little disappointed. Could have put a lot more Flexbox in that. But it's interesting to see other people's solutions. Like this is a person writing an article on how to use Flexbox, and there was no FlexGrow. Maybe he's just trying to make, Flexbox more consumable, which is cool. All right, so there's tabs 1. So tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. Next one to build. I'll take a little screenshot of that. And what are your thoughts on that? How are we going to do it? Before we look at his code, let's just talk about it for a second. Ideas. How do we get this line on the bottom?
Could you do a div and then just like the border?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a container, and we'll set the border on the bottom of the container. Right? And then how do we get this line? On hover, what's going to happen? So this greater container is going to hold 4 containers, and each of those containers on hover will set the border on the bottom. Right? And so as we hover over them, we'll see the border on the bottom of this. And then inside that container, we just need to center the text. Okay, cool. So now what are we going to use? What tags for the container? Are these buttons? Should we try the button route? Let's look up what a button is. Button. Represents a clickable button. That sounds pretty like what we want, right? Okay. Woohoo! We're ready to rock and roll. Are you ready? Dun, 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 dun. And what do we call this? What's this called? He calls this one tabs? What's he call it? Tabs. I think I have a... I'm just going to copy this structure. It's all set up. And I need to change the instructions. And go into the solution. And so my first one's going to be, what's it going to be? Tabs. And then button times 4. And we need something to identify it. So it'll be a pound. And we'll put a $sign because I'll auto-increment it. However, IDs aren't likable when they're just dollars. Let me prove it to you. Okay, so now to my CSS, and we will leave padding, margin, box sizing. Cool. And we'll leave this, get it all into the center. Cool. You want me to add it in piece by piece so you see it happening? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to prove to you the div deal. So we have the ID deal, ID 1. So pound 1, color, hot pink. Font size, 20 rem. And we need something in there. Now we're going to preview it. However, if we do this, S1, and now this, S1, and then come back here. So for whatever reason, you can't do your IDs with just numbers. So I'm going to back this up, and I'll put in tab whatever, right? So I'm starting with text. So that would be my emit. I want a button tag with the ID tab-1234, and I want that 4 times. Woo! Are you ready? And then I need some text here. What text is being used in the example? Tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, tab 4. I don't want to type all that. So I could also add in content. And it's going to be tab, all right, tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, tab 4. Wah! It's not what I wanted. I think it might be these notations then. There we go. So that's the emit. Cool. You just play with it. Emit cheat sheet. Your editor should be able to do emit IO stuff. All right, so I got those, and now I can look at it. See what are we looking at? Tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, tab 4. Left to right. And we're hooked up to main CSS, but there's nothing in main CSS. So I'm going to do a little reset, HTML body div. And it's going to be content, padding, and border, and then margin. I'm just going to skip over border because I can't type. Well, we'll put it in. We'll take it out if it causes problems. But I'm just thinking about the box model, content, padding, border, margin, and setting each of those to 0 because the browser has the defaults. Box sizing, border box. Cool. Anything change? A little bit. See, I got closer to the edge because there was some padding around the HTML. And then next, I just want to center that in the page. So I'm going to say HTML body, height 100%. Nothing changed. However, I can now do body. If I did this, what, are we going to see a solid hot pink border? It's a trick question, sorry. I'm thinking no, but I have only like 87% certainty, which is pretty good. I'd bet on those odds, especially if I've been drinking cough syrup. Okay? Oh! We did see him. But why did we only see it HTML body div? We set it all to 0, border 0. What? Huh? What's the specificity there?
That's universal.
This? Is that override a tag selector? I guess so. Why don't we see it on HTML and body then? That's odd. And why don't we see it on the container? We see it on the buttons because I didn't do button. Now we won't. Ugh. All right. So I got to get that out. Now we got it on everything. That's looking ugly. But we can now make the body a flex container. And it's flex direction row, no wrap by default. So I'm just going to do justify content, which operates on the primary axes. And I'm going to say center that. And I'm going to do align items, which operates on the cross axes. And I'm going to say center that. And I'm in the middle. Nice. And now for the next thing is we want body to have a border, I don't know, 4 pixels. I think it's like pretty thin, right? So we can look at that, inspect. I don't want to cheat on his CSS because then I'm going to see other stuff. I just want to do it without looking at his stuff. So that looks like it's about 1 pixel. Solid, gray, dark gray. Do I do it with an A or an E? They're the same. A9, 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 A9. And I want border bottom. Can't see anything. Oh, I did that in the body. Sorry. Pound tabs. There we go. Now we need some width. So width. How much? 20 rem, which would be like 200 and something, 320. Too much? That's about right. And now we need to distribute all those items across that space, right? They're all over just jammed in on the left. So to do that, oh, how I love the Flexbox. And justify content. And space between, right? Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so that's been set there. Now, is that kind of how this one was? The things are in the center. The words are in the center. So we kind of got to get these buttons to take up the whole space, right? And so these buttons are all flex items. And so I think I might just be able to say button flex grow 1. And they're going to grow to fill in the space that they're supposed to be as flex items, that they have as flex items. Oh yeah. Nice. I love it when a plan comes together. And now I need to get that off of my border a little bit. So I could probably give the button some height. What do you think? Needs to kind of be floating up a little bit. But then I'm going to have to center that text vertically and horizontally. Or I could just, beneath the button, add a margin, bottom, and it'll pop the whole thing up. But I want the whole deal to be clickable. So I think just thinking through the possible ways to do it, right? Like I could have done this, button, margin, bottom, 30 pixels, which would be like 2 rem. Okay, cool. Let's go with 1 rem. Right, okay, and then, I want to be able to have my stuff be readable. No, that just didn't work. That's just what it... I guess 1 rem is good. It's pretty small. I think theirs is a little wider. Let's make ours a little wider. So we set the width here to 25 rem. There we go. And then I could do border 0. Interesting, it made it gray. Guess it feels like with a button. There we go. Right, that's one way I can move them up off. I moved them up off with margin bottom. Right? But that's not the best way. Because when I do cursor finger, what was it? Pointer. Should have called it finger. Right, I'm not getting the finger there, I only get it right on the button. So if I'm looking at that border, I'm not getting it here, I'm only getting it right there. And I need to get like a lot more. So the better way to do it instead of margin bottom, so this is like not the good way. The better way to do it is padding maybe. Just overwrote my line. Let me just try height. See what height does. Overwrote my line too. So padding, box sizing, border boxes on everything. Padding, not gonna. What's up? The line's right there. Well, that's kind of sucko. There's like an overflow something with Flexbox that I recently read about. But what are your thoughts? I just kind of hit a wall. See how I'm like overflowing my border for my container? Let's make it hot pink so we can see it. You see that? It's right there. Margin bottom shifted it up, but it didn't keep the whole area clickable. And when I add padding, it increases the size and overwrites my border. Would that happen with divs? I'm just curious. Is that a characteristic of button? Anybody have thoughts? Not sure?
So what's happening?
Huh?
Could you explain what's happening?
Okay, so I need this to come up off that border, the pink. Come up a little bit. Right? So one way I could do that is I could say, hey, margin bottom one rim, and bring my buttons up. Cool, they're up off it. Just like here. Crazy mouse. Up off it. Right? Not to mention his aren't centered across the line. So up off it. But now you can see cursor pointer. I only get the pointer when my touch target would be better if it came all the way down, right? And I'm also going to have to put that border right on top of this line.
What if you remove the button styling and then made the set the height of the button, so it'll look like it has a margin on the bottom because your text is center.
Okay, so get rid of that.
Yeah.
And do
And
height.
Remove. Let's see.
Ready? That's pretty good. What happens if we're at 2.5 rim? Oh, we're good. Why wasn't that working before? Cool, it's pushing the pink down. Maybe it was, and I wasn't seeing it because it's a different color.
Yeah, and if you set the background color to white, it'll just look like this.
Yeah, cool. All right, I like that. Is that about the right height off the line for design? What would you guys choose? Those are nice touch target sizes. The right height off the line, or a little closer? Maybe a little closer. Let's try just 3. It's a little better. All right, sweet. I don't know why I tweaked out on that. We don't need that. We don't need that. We might need that eventually. Cool. So we have that. Now we want to get the green or whatever when we hover. Right? A different color down there. So tab. Sorry. tab dash. I want the button on hover. I guess I could apply this to just right here. It's cool. So this one is more of a instead of hot pink, dark gray. And this one here is turquoise. What turquoise color did we learn the other day? I like dark turquoise. And the button has border 0 and background color white. Why do we get a little pop-up in the text? But why is it pushing the text up?
Would it function the button?
Box sizing border box, I think, right? Because it pushes the content in instead of out, and we only pushed one way, so it pushed it up. How can we fix that so it doesn't pop up? We have box sizing border box on the button. Do we need that?
It's going to push
What happens if we take that off?
the border down though.
Still get a little bit of rise, right? So I'll put that back on. What do you think? Maybe. Anybody have any ideas? How about this? Right, we're pushing from the top and bottom. Oops, it's still bottom. You're like, what does that do? Whoa. It's pushing from the top and bottom the same amount. Keep it in the middle. That's pretty cool. What else will we add to it? We don't need any of those. Anything else that we add to it? And on click, that border changes. So I think that's some JavaScript. Let's look at his solution, okay? So the HTML, he went all divs on this one. What's up? I like the idea of the buttons. We have a class tabs and then tab and is tab selected. And so display flex, border bottom 1 pix, tab, cursor pointer, padding, top and bottom, left and right, color, font size, border bottom, 2 pix solid transparent. So he fixed it by always having a thing on the bottom, right? And then when he adds 2 pix in, he's just changing the color of it. That's a nice fix. I like that. And border bottom color is tab selected. Well, how do we know if the tab's selected? How does that get? Because it's a button. Is tab selected? Tab dot is tab selected. How do you know if is tab is selected? It's not like a keyword or something, is it? We can look at the button thing and go for selected. See if it tells us anything. Nothing. Select. I'm not sure how his is tab selected. So just out of curiosity, we could grab all that. Go to CodePen, just for a quickie, and new pen, and drop in the CSS, and then get the HTML. So he's got some other code he's not telling us about for JavaScript or something. Just punk. Give you an example, and then you try to run it, it doesn't work. Not to mention his lines going across the whole page. All right, rebuild it. Go.